as the New York Giants host the new-look Bucs. Thanks to Tom Brady, Tampa Bay is not only winning, they are relevant again for the first time in a decade. Brady will brave the cold tonight. He said when he got off the plane last night, it was the first time in a while he felt temps lower than 70, one of many things he's loving about his new city and new team. Tough test tonight for Daniel Jones and company as they do their best to remain in the thick of the NFC East playoff race. Spectacular late sunset in New York City. Lady Liberty, so proud. As we get you set for the game and recap another eventful NFL Sunday, a Monday night countdown presented by Subway. MetLife Stadium not far from where we are here in the Seaport District at Pier 17 in New York City. And making our night, not only do we have one of Tom Brady's all-time favorite receivers, Hall of Famer Randy Moss, but we have, he grew up a Niners fan, one of his all-time favorite quarterbacks, Hall of Famer Steve Young, who is off the road.
Back from the front lines, Susie. The war correspondent out there on the front lines, and the only guy in the stadium. We're just laughing about yelling at John Gruden, throw the ball, John. They could hear me. Look, who is that yelling down there? Pass, pass. I was just screaming out stuff.
We saw your Twitter pictures with your feet up.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, well, now we're so great.
I'm glad. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome.
I feel home. I feel at home.
Nice to see you, Steve.
Also here, Morgan McFarland, Adam Schefter. I'm Susie Colbert. Some bad news for your 49ers. Let's start with the quarterback, Adam.
Susie, Jimmy Garoppolo has a high ankle sprain that is going to sideline him for a minimum of 6 weeks. If he needs surgery, it's going to be longer. So no matter how you look at it, the chances are his season could well be over for the 49ers. Nick Mullins replaced him on Sunday. They're on a short week this week against Green Bay. Have to figure Nick Mullins starts on Thursday night. And the season is probably over for George Kittle as well. Suffered a broken bone in his foot on Sunday against Seattle. He is expected to miss 8 weeks. Just do the math. Why would you bring him back at the end of the year? The season may be over by the time he can come back. So the season looks like it's over for George Kittle, over for Jimmy Garoppolo. And the 49ers, once they put those players in IR, will have $80 million worth of players on injured reserve this season. That's not the way to try to get back to the Super Bowl.
It's like the injuries just won't quit. I mean, how do you proceed from here?
At this point, with those two going out, I mean, the 49ers season, the idea of going back to the Super Bowl is not going to happen, right? And how do we get into a playoff picture? They've got to go 6-2 from here. Yeah. Look at the teams they've got to play. They've got to the Bills. They've got to play in the division. They've got to go to New Orleans. I mean, this looks like a disastrous year. And so really, it creates a focus on the one question coming into this year that you had about the 49ers is, can we get to a place where Kyle Shanahan, this innovative offensive coordinator, one of the best head coach in the league, can find a quarterback that he can trust and just be expansive with rather than protect. And I think that's been the issue with Jimmy. And I think that $25 million and a shrinking salary cap with this injury, let's bat it around. But I just don't know how Jimmy ends up being the quarterback for the 49ers next year.
Well, if you don't have Jimmy Garoppolo at the quarterback, we have to find somebody else to be able to put in that position. And you're right. Kyle has protected his quarterback. Like, I look at Jimmy Garoppolo and Jared Goff as the same guy. They're both mobile quarterbacks that their coach have schemed up for them a great offense. Outside zone, play action. We're going to cut the field in half and make your reads very, very simple. And let's not forget, Jimmy has played good football. He got him to a Super Bowl, and he's within one throw to Emmanuel Sanders down the middle of the field of winning that Super Bowl. I don't know if the 49ers are ready to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo. They do want better quarterback play, but whether or not they're ready to cut bait because there's no more guaranteed money, that's yet to be seen.
You know, it's just a shame to see all the injuries you guys were just talking about. But let me talk about the guy that I saw last night, Nick Mullins. I know that Coach Shanahan will find the quarterback of the future. But, hey, I got some high hopes for a guy like Nick Mullins. He showed some plays last night that I think that gives them some hope that, hey, we can go compete this coming Thursday. We can compete for the rest of the season. Yeah, they don't have guys like Deebo Samuels and the two guys you talk about going on IR. But I like this young Nick Mullins and his hunger and his passion to play the game of football. He's making mistakes. All young quarterbacks are making mistakes. But I do believe that Coach Shanahan will have his team going out there competing for the rest of the season.
Well, what about the nuts and the bolts of this with Jimmy G? What's the contract situation?
Well, you mentioned the no more guaranteed money. So his season's over.
Yeah.
So you have to figure they're going to be reviewing all quarterback options after the season. All would be in play. It's not like Jimmy G has this job locked up. We've seen them juggle quarterbacks this year. And a lot of it was due to Jimmy Garoppolo's health with his ankle. But they turned to Nick Mullins. They turned to C.J. Beathard. They went back to Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going back to Nick Mullins. That's how it's gone. Does that tell you that that's a team that's married to Jimmy Garoppolo going into the offseason when he's got no guaranteed money?
It
No,
goes
they're
back
gonna
to the
review all the
relationship
options.
between Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy. That's what matters. Does Kyle believe and can he have an expansive view? And Booker, you hit it right on the head. They've created a system that Jimmy can be successful
Yes.
in. It's not the system that Kyle wants to run.
So what's your gut?
The gut is that Kyle's going to be a coach there for 10 years. He'll be one of the long-term coaches when he's finally done. Does he want Jimmy to be able to concoct an offense for him, or does he want somebody that can actually be expansive and do all the things that are in my brain rattling around? That's what Kyle wants to do.
And to your point about what Kyle wants to do, go back to when Kyle Shanahan was with the Atlanta Falcons. That's what they want to do. Yes, it's zone run, but remember Matt Ryan? They were throwing the football down the field, deep shot. That's what Kyle Shanahan wants to do. He can't quite do that with Jimmy. That's the only piece he's missing, that downfield passing game.
All right, so that's the future. In the present, they're on a short week. They have to host Green Bay, and then moving forward, they have the third toughest schedule in the NFL. Adam, let's move on to some other news and notes, and let's start here with Bears wide receiver Javon Wims.
The NFL suspended him today 2 games for throwing the punches that he did on Sunday in that game and for the way that he acted. And when I spoke to one person in the league office today, they called it, and I used these words that came to me, ridiculous by Wims, no place in the sport. When you see somebody punch a player like that, look at his reaction, and then he comes back and hits him again. Again, it's obvious what that is. He's suspended 2 games. He's going to appeal it, and that appeal will be heard Tuesday by the NFL. I can't imagine he's going to win, but we'll see.
Well, he shouldn't win. It's a great job by the league office. There's no place in our game for that. There's no place to just walk back out there and punch one of your brothers. We want to compete, and we want to do it at a high level, but we don't want to punch anybody, hit anybody in the face like that.
That's a criminal offense.
Correct.
Forget about football. That's just an assault. That's just flat out going out and assault somebody. Someone should, I mean, you should wonder if someone should be arrested for just assault. Forget about being on a football field. Just, you can't, human beings can't do that to each other.
And listen, on a whole different note, I'm concerned about my guy C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Like, that's twice in the last month. Michael Thomas allegedly punched him in practice, and now Javon Wims gets him. At some point, man, stand up for yourself. Like, stop getting punched in the face so many times.
What is going on there with this kid?
What's going on with this kid?
What is happening there? There must be a deeper story. It's gotta be.
I mean, don't just get hit in the face like that.
No, but really, in all honesty, for the league to take instant action like that is good for our league. Like you said, Boog, we're out here competing each and every day to try to go out there and provide for our families, and to have something like that will not be tolerated in our game. No way, no how.
Not tolerated. And finally, Adam, COVID updates?
It wouldn't be a week without one of them, Susie, and so there are a few of those today. The Ravens cornerback Marlon Humphrey said today that he tested positive for COVID. He's going to be out for this Sunday's game. A.J. Dillon, the Packers running back, tested positive. He was placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. He will not play Thursday against the 49ers. And 2 Cardinals tested positive. Byron Murphy, Devon Kennard, both on the COVID list. And again, I think short term here, A.J. Dillon, Packers playing Thursday night. He was around players, offensive players around these running backs playing yesterday against the Vikings. And now you wonder if any other positive tests are going to come back on Green Bay.
It's been eventful, not in a good way. Adam, we know you'll keep us up to date. So much to come. In the Week 8 edition of Monday Night Countdown, after another disappointing loss to the Steelers, has the league figured out the formula to stop Lamar Jackson? Kryptonite, maybe. Plus, we'll open Boomer's vault. There were plenty of great defensive plays on Sunday. That's a nice change. Could one of these top Boomer's list? And Tom Brady sits down with our Randy Moss for the first time as a Buck